On this episode of InfowarsNews Blitz, Gruber video reveals how administration sought to hide Obamacare tax. U.S. combat veterans sue banks for aiding terrorists, and a poll says Monsanto is the third worst hated company. That and a lot more, so stay tuned. Okay, folks, first article here is an article written by Paul Douglas Watson, and I think Al Jones has probably touched on this subject here. The title is called Third Gruber Video Reveals How Administration Sought to Hide Obamacare Tax. Underneath it says, so basically it's the same thing. We'll just tax insurance companies. They'll pass on higher prices. I says, dispute claims that he spoke off the cliff when he said that a lack of transparency was a key in fooling stupid Americans to accepting passage of Obamacare. A third video has emerged at MIT economics professor Jonathan Gruber, in which he admits the administration exploited Americans' lack of economic understanding to hide the fact that the ACA was direct tax to the consumer. And there's a video here I'm going to play in a little bit, if I get to it, of course. The clip comes from November 5th speech at Rhode Island University. In the first part of the video, Gruber laments the fact that Americans do not have to pay on health insurance provided by employers. The MIT professor then explains how, under Obamacare, Americans' lack of American understanding would be exploited so as to make them think that the evil insurance companies were the ones being taxed, when in reality, the companies are simply passing on the prices to the consumer. And here is the clip here.
First of all, it's expensive. If we taxed health insurance like we tax wages in America, we would raise $250 billion per year more. To fix ideas, that is twice what it would cost to cover every uninsured American with health insurance today. Twice. Okay? Second of all, it's regressive. It's a bigger tax break the richer you are. Because the richer you are, the bigger your tax rate is. So the way I like to describe this tax break is the government offers a bribe to employers to offer health insurance, and the richer you are, the bigger bribe they give. How can that make sense? Third, it's inefficient. As my braces example illustrates, people buy excessive amounts of insurance and get excessive amounts of health care because they are overinsured, because this tax subsidy is sort of inducing them to do so. Now, in principle, we'd like to get rid of this. So, for instance, we could get rid of it, or we could even cap it. We could say, once your health insurance is above a certain level, we're not going to give you this tax break anymore.
Okay, folks, there you have it. And you can obviously see that basically this Gruber guy is a complete flaunting this data, basically, we cheated you people, ha ha ha, it's a lot of funny. I mean, we need to wake up, folks, because these people are just telling us in our face. Okay, folks, this is the second article here, and it's a video, which is from the Infowars Nightly News, and it is titled, U.S. combat veterans sue gangster banks for aiding terrorists. Underneath that title, it says, soldiers killed by Iran funding Iraq insurgencies according to lawsuit. Underneath the video, it says, Eric Holder says they are too big to jail, but the suit filed earlier Monday accuses multiple banks of committing acts of international terrorism by helping Iran fund and arm the Iraqi terrorists who have killed scores of U.S. troops. Too big to jail? What a joke. Anyway, here's a clip from the news, which is hosted by the lovely Leanne McAdoo. Here it is.
80 wounded U.S. combat veterans and their families have filed suit against several of the world's largest banks. They are accusing them of committing acts of international terrorism by helping Iran fund and arm Iraqi terrorists. Now, the suit alleges that the international banks were knowingly part of a conspiracy by Iran to skirt international sanctions. The banks agreed to alter, falsify, or omit information from payment messages that involved Iran or Iranian parties. This is including the banks, and each of these defendants knowingly entered into an agreement with Iran and its agents. Now, the court documents say that with the help of the accused banks, Iran has been able to secretly move billions of dollars in U.S. currency through the United States in a manner that was designed to purposefully circumvent monitoring regulators. And this is said to include hundreds of millions of dollars to Hezbollah, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and other terrorist organizations that are actively engaged in murdering and maiming U.S. servicemen and civilians in Iraq. So obviously some of the hurdles facing the veterans is that they must be able to show that these attacks were not executed by reason of an act of war. Wartime claims are exempted from the Anti-Terrorism Act because the law wasn't intended to give soldiers a private right of action in a military conflict. They're basically saying casualties of war happen, but according to this suit, these were not acts of war, but acts of terrorism, and U.S. troops were the target. So what do you think? Are the banks complicit in this? We've reported many times they've always funded both sides of the war.
Well, there you go, folks. You just heard it from the other manager's mouth. They fund both sides of the war. But seriously, article holder, too big to jail? What the heck is your problem, boy? Yeah, sure, just like they're too big to be, well, you know, big. They deserve to be sued for this, and even though they both fund both sides of the conflict. Okay, folks, this is the last article of the day here, and it's a article written by Mike Breggett. I'm trying to pronounce the last name right, but if I pronounce his name wrong, I'm terribly sorry. Anyway, the article is named Poll, Monsanto's third most hated company in the world. Underneath the title says biotech giant of one of the most hated among top 60 companies. Well, that's good. With the BT corn. Anyway, back in 2011, we declared Monsanto to be the worst company of the year for threatening both human health and the environment at large. Our decision was met with massive reports, even admitting the still growing climate of understanding when it came to what Monsanto and mega biotech at large was truly doing to the food supply. In 2014, however, the global resistance is making an even greater strides. Now, a relatively new poll from Nelson finds that Monsanto's reputation ranks third worst among 60 high-tech profile companies, right behind oil juggernaut BP, responsible for the worst oil spill in U.S. history, and Bank of America, known for being a key player in the meltdown of the physical crash. Basically, the article goes on to say here that numerous scientific studies have found Monsanto's products from GMO crops to top-selling pesticides to, which is called Roundup, be engaging the plant at incredible fast rate. It took Monsanto less than 2 decades to convert much of native crops to GMO, leading to 98% of corn and 94% of soy to be generally modified among other crops. And to throw this in there too, folks, what I've heard was that Monsanto scientists don't even eat this stuff. They eat all organic foods. So think about that while you're shopping for your quote unquote looking for that soy base of foods or whatever. Because basically these people want you dead. I mean, when you feed the corn and all this other stuff to the rats, they have tumors growing out of their you-know-what, all over their body, and basically having their testicles growing all over their body, and tongues on their mouths. Well, that's all the articles I have here today, folks. If you like to read about these articles, please go to the link below or go to Infowars.com. They can find hundreds of articles just like this one I just read to you today. This is the Infowars News Blitz. I'm Infowars, signing off. Bye-bye.